Hey everyone. So on this edition, well, first of all, let me tell you that I'm starting a series on fixing problems in the community, specifically the black community. But I understand that a lot of the issues that we have in the black community, if we fix them, that it would help all the communities around the world, truthfully. Because a lot of the issues around the world stem from black issues and black oppression. Okay, we'll get into that later. But um, as I said, in this, we are doing a series called Fixing or How to Fix the Problems in the Black Community. And the first episode is about unity. All right, so I'm starting off with the scripture. It's Psalms chapter 133, verse 1, where it says, Behold, or look, how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Okay, so we know unity is very important. Um, United, we do a lot, we can accomplish a lot, but we're having issues with united. We always have, even in the religious slash spiritual community. Um, there's different beliefs or different sects of congregation, and they have an issue with coming together. And it's this person's right, this person's wrong, all that. I mean, not even people that are supposed to be religious or spiritual can come together, let alone people that are in the world. So, what do we do? Okay, the world governments don't want you to be unified. That's why COVID is another way of them keeping you uh, from being together, or from that you're afraid of one another, so you will not unify. You can't even speak to the other person because they have a mask on their face. You're scared to touch them. You're scared to be around them. So this is a big issue. This was a time where they knew that we were going to come together. So it was beneficial for them to introduce this, invent and introduce this disease or this problem, this virus, right when things were changing, to try to prevent you guys from coming together. All right. Um, so that is the beginning of solving our problems. That alone is speaking. Okay. In the black community, we have an issue with talking to one another, even on the street or whatever. People have a hard time speaking to one another. So the other day, I was over at a family member's house. I was at my brother's house, and I was walking outside, walking to the little community park that they have over there. And this one brother came up to me. He was a little distance away. He actually walked up to me, and I met him halfway, and he got to talking about the Lord and this and that. And, he was just talking about how he was really happy that I spoke to him, because black people don't speak to one another. I'm like, that is so true. Like, because I was, thinking anyway, what should I talk about on this first episode? And it made perfect sense. He said that we don't speak to one another. And I'm like, that's true. There's people of other nations or other races that I would speak to sometimes before I would speak to a black person. And the reason why is because that other nation spoke to me. The black people look straight. They won't even look at you. They won't, you don't want to make eye contact or none of that. So if we speak to one another, that would be very helpful. All right. So again, one of the major problems we have is that there's no unity. And the reason why there's no unity is because there's a lack of trust in the black community. We don't trust one another. Okay. That is very bad. And there's reasons why we don't trust one another. Number one is because of the images that we see on television. But number two, sometimes we don't present ourselves as being trustworthy for whatever reasons. There's multiple reasons why, but sometimes are behaving manners that are not necessarily trustworthy, and sometimes those behaviors don't even represent our true behavior. That's not necessarily that is not behaviors that we identify with every day, but all it takes is one time and a person witnesses that, and now all of a sudden you're not to be trusted. You understand? Even it could be banking situations or paying people back, and someone else sees how you've handled the situation, and all of a sudden now you're not trustworthy. You might be hanging out with people that are not uh, they that don't represent who you truly are, knowing that you shouldn't be hanging with these certain people, and those people aren't trustworthy. So they figure if you associate with these people, you're not necessarily trustworthy. Okay, so going back, there's no unity because there's a lack of trust in the black community, and a lot of that is from what we see on TV, but also displayed by some of those behaviors that we do. So if we don't trust someone, we definitely ain't gonna speak to them. Okay, a lot of the stuff that a lot of our beliefs are stereotypes from what we see on TV and the news and social media, all these different images that are constantly casted up in our mind. Even some of the language of people on social media, everybody's about let me get mine. And it's true, like even on a deeper level, I'm trying to keep this real basic in life for a lot of you. But I've seen myself personally how when it all said and done, our people will tend to side with the wrong side, will tend to side with darkness when it boils down to for self preservation or to get what they want out the deal. They will go against their own, they will go against other black people in order to attain money. Okay? That's another conversation that I will get into because I have to, and it's really deep. But you have to you have to stay solid, as I like to say, and stay loyal. You have to be trustworthy. But I'm supposed to be talking about speaking so today. So anyway, again, a lot of our issues can be solved by speaking to one another. Okay, if you see another person, another black person, but really, you should do this with all communities. But right now, in dealing with black people need to speak to one another like they used to. You see a black person walking by, doesn't matter what social class they are in. If they're poor, they're rich, whatever, just say hi. Don't have any judgment against that other person. If they're poor or they're a bum on the street, just still say hi. You don't know how much that makes a person's day. You don't know what they're going through. Even if they have a messed up look on their face, still speak to them. You don't know how much of a difference that will make in their lives. Okay? Speak to people. Okay? That doesn't mean just because you're speaking to them or someone says hi to you, don't be judgmental or defensive. Okay? Just say hi and keep going about your day. How are you doing? Keep going about your day. Okay? Also, doesn't mean that also if it is one that you speak to is less fortunate, that doesn't mean that you have to help out or anything. All you're doing is speaking. Okay? Just because you have a degree or whatever and you're talking to someone that may have come from the streets, they know some things that you don't know, that you just like that you've learned, you got your education from the books or whatever. They know some street stuff that you don't know, and vice versa. You guys are both pieces to the puzzle. You can make such a big difference. Okay? So again, I can't stress this enough. One of the major ways we can help fix problems in the black community is by speaking to one another. Doesn't matter what religion, what social class, or whatever. Speak to one another. And that applies to every race. Speak to one another. Because let me tell you, no matter what race you are, right now there is an agenda to wipe you out, to have full control of you, and for you to pick the side of darkness. That is their agenda. I'm coming from the side of light. The side of darkness has an agenda to wipe you out if you don't do what they want you to do. They are already starting their agenda. Do I believe it's gonna work? No. But you have to pick a side, the light or the dark. That's it for today. All right. So speak to one another, love one another. Have a good one.